Hey crafters, it's a pleasure to have your company today. We are looking at the brand new Colour Shift ink pads. I wanted to pop in with this video because I think it's really important for you to see the differences between these ink pads and the other pink ink pads we have on the market. Now, you might look at these and say, well, look, they're colour changing. They've got a shimmer, so they're like interference. Well, kind of, yes, they are like interference. But when you start looking at the colour palette and you'll see the reasoning behind what we've done, it will probably make more sense. So, for example, we have two purples here. We actually have a pink and two kind of salmony, peachy red colours. We have a couple of greens here. And the shift colour are all pretty different, but they're kind of similar as well. So when I say they are like interference, but not like interference, I hope you can see where I'm coming from. So basically what you're going to be able to achieve with these is blending. And when I say blending, I mean tonal blending. So if you look at an interference ink, you pretty much use that as one colour. So you might have a red, pink, yellow, blue. You might have, for example, Galaxy Dream. You won't be blending this with anything else. You will just be using this kind of as a colour, really, and also on the black cardstock. But these, when we lay the colour down, I'm really hoping the camera can pick up the differences between these and interference. Yes, they work together. Yes, you can use the same brushes with them. And yes, I would say they complement each other. They have many similar properties in that they are water reactive, in that they give you a shimmer, but also it's really hard to show you, but they do dry with kind of a matte finish, but they have a shimmer quality to them. I'm going to try and lift one of my samples up and show you. Now, I think if you looked at this, you would assume that this was a matte blending ink. But when I give it a little wiggle, and it is a little wiggle, let me see if I can get that for you. There is this delicate kind of shimmer that comes off of it. And it is also the colour changing shimmer. But I think you can see here that you get a ridiculously good seamless blend. So you've got the shimmer shining through. I can definitely see it more on this side because the camera seems to like that better. But when I shift the colour, I think you can see what I mean. So this one is the Lagoon Punch, which is just here. And this one is the Avocado Gold. But I think if I'm going to try that again, yeah, I think you can see the gold coming through. The lights make it a little tricky. But I think when you hold this up and look at it now, you can absolutely see that really looks like a matte blending ink compared to something like a interference where straight away it's almost boom in your face shimmer. These are a more gentle approach. So for those people who love a bit of sparkle, love a little bit of shimmer, or even like a satin effect, these are going to be a really good option. Now, some colours achieve this better than others, as in the satin look against the vibrant look. So when I look at this one, this has got two colours of ink on it. I hope you can see that. So we've got the darker ink down here and the lighter ink up here. But again, it's for the blend. It's absolutely for the blend. So you can blend these colours seamlessly. And that's these two here. So on camera, you might not see the difference with the shimmer element, but you'll certainly see the difference here with the kind of colour tone. But when I wiggle that, I'm going to try and get this for you. Yeah, so you can definitely see that there is a shimmer. This is like a pinky colour and this is blue. But where I've blended them, I have kind of mixed and matched those colours. So it might be tricky for you to see the difference in the kind of shimmer element of it, but you can clearly see it's there, but you can also see it's a much more of a matte finish. Okay, there is another color that's really, really interesting though in this collection, and that is your Peanut Glow. So I'm going to bring these over just a little bit so you can still see some of these here. Pop these down. Peanut Glow is ridiculously cool. And I'll show you this with the Summer Sky. So Peanut Glow and Summer Sky. Now, of course, these are way off tonally wise for you know, blending. However, you don't get that ridiculously kind of harsh, solid line that you would get if you were using an interference. But you can see now that you get this beautiful shine. But can you see just in this portion here where we've mixed the Summer Sky, which has got the blue shimmer, and the Peanut Glow, which has got the gold shimmer, if I shift that, it changes the shimmer to a purple. So you're getting lots of different blendability techniques with these. They really, really are great. So hopefully you can incorporate these into your interference inks, but you will notice when you lay colour down that you do get a softer approach to it. But that, for me, is a really good example of the Peanut Glow with the gold, the Summer Sky with the blue, but in between it kind of turns a purpley colour. But yeah, so that's really the theory behind them. Now, when I use these colours on black, I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this. So what I'm going to show you on black are these two. Okay, so we've seen this colour. Let's move that again. These two give you this, which is a delight in itself. But when you pop these onto black card, you can really see the difference in the tone. Now the camera will go crazy over this, I think, because it can't pick up everything. It's a dazzle for the eyes. But I think you can see here they are most definitely two different colours. You've got the pink and you've got the blue. But also, I don't know if you're catching, but that there is an element of matte-ness to them. So you can almost see that chalkiness coming through, particularly on the blue, okay, which is the coral waters. And then when I tilt them, I'm going to try this again. I'm not sure what will happen now, but here, particularly here and in the corners, can you see you've kind of maintained that matte element? So when I hold it like this, from my eyes, it's matte. And when I move it, I get the shimmer. So it's really difficult on camera. It really is. But I'm really hoping it's given you some kind of idea of how they work. So we'll do the same thing again with the Peanut Glow, you know, the Peanut Glow and the Summer Sky. So obviously you've got the brownie colour and you've got the green colour because that's the left hand side. But when we do this on the black card, I think again you can still see it's got that kind of chalky finish, but then you've got the blue and the gold coming through. But it's still, I really, really can't wait for you to see these in real life, because what's happening here is in the middle, the blue and the gold has gone green. So they still blend. So you've got your definite gold that side, your definite blue that side, and then in the middle, which is the trickiest thing to show, it's giving you kind of greeny gold. So that is the basis of the Cloud9 Colour Shift ink. So we're going to do some demos and I'm going to show you how I use them. And I'm going to show you the ridiculously seamless blend you get on them. But there's one thing worth noting with them as well, is there's not a really bright yellow on white card. That will come in release 2. We've just tried to keep it as, it was really so I could give you groups of colour. I didn't want to overwhelm with too many colours at once, but I wanted to try and give you some groups of colours so you could actually do some blending. So that's what we're planning to do today. I will pick my colours shortly, but let me just show you the stencil I'm planning on using. So this is our Waves and Bubbles embossing folder, and these are the layering stencils that coordinate. So I'm actually going to use these. I'm not sure how many I'll use yet. I'll see see how much, oh no, that's great. I thought they had quite a lot of stencils in this one, but this one isn't too bad. So I think we'll use this, and I'll show you what they look like on white card, and I'll show you what they look like on black card. So let's open this brand new pack and see what we've got. So this one has, let's have a look, 6 stencils. Some have minimal amounts on them, some have much greater amounts. So this one, actually, the front one, I really am not going to bother with, because I'm trying to show you elements. I'm trying to show you the blend. That's just going to give you a solid background. So let's have a look at some of these. So we'll start with stencil number 2. I'm going to move these out of the way for the moment, but I will tell you the colours I'm using when I use it. And I'm going to bring my ulti-mate out. Now, at the time of this video, the ulti-mate was out of stock. It is in manufacture as we speak, and it will be heading across the globe really soon, really soon. So I'll bring this in. Now, my camera's quite close, but I think it's really important that we see all the detail. So let me just turn this over. Okay. Place my mat inside, and I'm actually going to turn this around. What I'm also going to use is our all-rounder cardstock. Now, this is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a good all-rounder. It's not extra smooth, although it is nice and smooth. It's great for your die cutting. It is great for your stenciling. It's great for, literally, as I say, all-round crafting. So what we'll do is we'll take our ulti-mate. We're going to pop this piece of card. Let me bring that up to show you. Just going to pop this piece of card to the side. I could trim it down, but hey, it doesn't really matter. And I tend to shift this at an angle, because this gives me just a little bit more flexibility when I'm working with you guys, because I can put the ink pads down here and we can do a little bit of blending. So the first thing I think I'm going to use is the Summer Sky and the Avocado Gold. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a green brush. I'm also going to take a spare piece of card. I'll use a piece of that all-rounder simply because it will end up creating a lovely background, and I can use it to die cut some flowers or something else. And I'll pop that just underneath, because this is going to be my my wipe-off part. Now, of course, as you can see, I'm quite close in with the camera. I want it to be like that. Just if you find it, it's in a lot of my hands, I do apologise, but it will give you the ability to see a lot more. One thing I will do, actually, let's switch you to camera 3. So camera 3 is going to, excuse my top, I've got my Rolling Stones t-shirt on today, but you can see, looking at the ink pad here, it is a foam base, and if I press into it here for you, you can see it's really dense, really juicy, but super vibrant. And I'm going to put some colour, I don't know if you can see that, on the side. Oh no, the light's shining too much. If I put colour onto the side, you can see that colour. You can see that green there. Now, if I did that with an interference, because it has got more of a dye base, you won't kind of see that. This shows you've got that little bit of that chalky finish to it, because it becomes quite opaque. Okay, so I'm going to pop that back down here, and I'm going to grab my ink. And as always, what I do with my stencils, pop it to camera 4 again, I'm going to tap off. Okay, and I always tap off because there's a lot of ink. Then I'm going to come onto my stencil, and I'm just going to blend. And you'll see less is more with these. They are super juicy, like interference. However, they are still that kind of chalky finish. So at this stage, you'll probably think, well, you know, it's a green ink pad. But what I want to show you is what you can do with the green ink pad. So you can take the green and leave it as it is, or you can add a little bit of the darker colour. Now, this is your, what do I call this one? Avocado Gold, which is a beautiful green. And when I pop this down, I'm going to wipe off any excess. Let me move that out of the way a minute. Wipe off any excess, grab that green, and you'll see here, look at that, that is a much darker green. And then what I can do with this, I can do what I would do with a blending ink, and I can go around the edges. I can give a lot more detail, knock that off a little bit, and I can do the same with all of the colours that we've got. So just to give it a little bit of definition to one side, I'm just going to come in with the darker green. So straight away, you can see that there is a blend going on, which you would get with a blending ink. I'm trying to find somewhere to put this because I've going to get ink everywhere and I need to use these again. Let's pop that just above me. Okay, so the next stencil is going to be stencil number 3. And this has got a lot more detail on it. So what I'm going to do now is start to build up some colour here. So I think I'm going to bring in the blues. We'll come back to the greens. I'm absolutely sure of it. We will bring in the blue and we're going to bring in Under the Sea and Lagoon Punch. I'm going to be honest with you. Lagoon Punch has absolutely stolen my heart. This is just the most beautiful colour. I will bring in another stencil brush and I'm going to actually start with the Under the Sea because it's the lighter colour. And you can see that's quite a vibrant blue. And if I grab the ink and I tap off, you can see that really is a great blue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally come over. I'm going to come over these pieces as well because it's a blue. It's going to give me the darker colour to sit over the top of the green. What we'll do is we'll come over and we're going to blend. Now, interference can be a tricky little fella to blend on the first layer. And what you do, I always say this, you build up with your layers of interference, and the more layers you put on, the easier the blend becomes. But these have got that property, like a blending ink, that absolutely make it a breeze to blend. So we're going to come over here and we'll do the blue here, just like so. So this video is a long form video. We're going to go into detail with all of this so you can make considered choices. I think you're going to find these a really easy option to work with. I think if you're a store, I think your customers will find these easy to work with. If you are a home crafter or a professional crafter, I think you're equally going to love these because the blendability and the sheen that comes out of these is phenomenal. So we'll do this side in the blue. So, you know, the result may not be, if we were doing this at home as a finished project, these may not necessarily be the colours that you would choose, or you wouldn't break it down half and half, that's for sure. So let's pop that here. And I'm going to leave the stencil where it is for now. And I'm going to bring in that Lagoon Punch. Now this is a punchy colour, literally is a punchy colour. And when I lift the lid off, it kind of looks a bluey grey. Oh, sorry, a bluey green. It really does. However, oh, it's just divine. It really is. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to switch back to the green brush because it's got that greeny tone to it. I'm going to tap off, nothing there really, and I'm going to bring that ink in. Can you see though, it's like a blue. It's just, This reminds me of our anthracite ink. It's got that colour that's almost not what you think it's going to be when you lay it down. So I'm now going to come in with this. Oops, grab a little bit more. And we're going to blend. So hopefully you can see already across the one side, you get a seamless blend, like a blending ink. And I'm going to hit that side. I'm not going to hit all of it. I'm going to hit one side so you can see the tones that change. And then I'll hit this one maybe just down here. Now, if you only want to cover smaller areas, just grab yourself a smaller stencil brush. I'm just going to pop that down there. But yeah, already I can see how cool this is. So when I lift this off, we can go back on again in a minute. Hopefully you're starting to see some of the shading occur, which you wouldn't really get with the interference because they are almost like a really solid ink. Now, I think this side, we're going to go in with completely different colours. I think we're going to bring in the purples, which are the golden heather and the lilac meadow. So I'll switch out my brushes again. So I've got the lilac heather and the golden heather and the lilac meadow. When we lift the lid, you can see that. Let me come over just a bit more. And then when we lift this one, you probably think, well, there's not a lot of difference in that colour. Well, there actually is. So we'll start with the golden heather. They've got a different tone to them as well. Let's move that lid out of the way, bring that down, and then we're going to ink. Oh, it's beautiful. It's an absolutely stunning colour. And you'll see when we put the, what's the other one called, lilac meadow, over the top, the difference. I'm going to tap off actually here because I can grab some of that from there. So the blendability on these is just great. It really, really is. So you can just literally fill these areas in. I mean, you can leave it like this if you want to. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to tap off and I'm going to bring that all the way around, just in circular movements, all the way around here. Just be aware some of these areas are really delicate. So if they're delicate, kind of come the other way. And then sometimes if it's a really tricky bit, I would just kind of follow that line. See what I mean? Now, because I didn't put the base layer on, we're going to have some white elements showing through. But if I put the base layer on, I wouldn't have been able to give you a true representation of all the colours. So that's the reason we didn't. Now, this one's a bit darker. That's fine. These pieces probably would have been green if I was doing this as per, like a normal card making demonstration. But for today, because I want to give you how the colours change, I wanted to mix up the colours a bit. I could mix these two colours together if I wanted to, the blues and the greens. They give you another super colour down here. You can see you've got a darker purple. So again, they really are one of those inks that you can mix and match. Let's bring in this lilac meadow. And again, if I show you here, compared to this one, you can see this has got more of a heavy duty colour on it. So let's show you what I mean by that. So let's bring in our brush and we're going to go over here. And I think straight away you can see the difference. So I'll just blend that out a little bit, which is really easy to do. There we go. And then we'll come down here. Now that's quite heavy here, but I can still give that a darker colour because it's got a much heavier tone to it. And I'm going to leave all those pieces there and I might pop some in here. That circle up here, I'm going to do half the circle so you can see the colour change. And when we lift that off, I really hope the camera does appreciate this. I'm hoping you can see the kind of the gradients and the blends we're starting to create. So the next one that we're going to use is stencil number 4. And now I'm going to bring in those gorgeous pinky, reddy, goldy. They're just divine, these two colours. We'll start with Coral Waters and then we'll finish with Watermelon Spritz. So this one, again, let me show you the two colours again. So I think you can see the difference in the colour tones once again. And I'll bring that brush in. I'll move these out of the way for a minute. And then we'll do what we always do. We'll tap off. This is quite matte, this one. You will probably notice this really easily in this one. And now I'm going to just kind of fill in some of these areas. I'm going to tap off because I don't want it too heavy. just some of these. And then we'll come over here and we'll overlay some of the colours that are there, because these are layering stencils. This is a pretty colour, really pretty colour. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to do this piece up here. So I'm going to kind of ease my way into it, because we have that area here. As you can see, just press that way so you don't end up with a stencil that's all moved. I'm going to come around the edge here. Hopefully, let's bring that across a little bit more. So now I'm popping some colour over the purple, and it will change that colour. And over here, and then we're going to do this piece here. So this is going to be quite a pink layer, quite a pinky salmony layer. Okay, but I'm hoping that the result be quite quirky, because it's not kind of your usual colours that you'd possibly use for this. And then I'm going to pop the lid on there, and I'm going to bring in that beautiful watermelon spritz. And you'll see I might wipe the brush off. Let's pop that next to that one. And I think you can see there's a completely different, it is a completely different colour. However, I want to show you when we lay it onto the stencil. So we'll come to this piece first. And we'll blend that in. Then we'll get lighter and lighter. Hopefully you can see, well, hopefully you see it when it lifts off. This one is quite tricky to see on camera. Now, if I lift that one off, it's so hard to see, but it really has got a super blend. So you've got that peachy orange there and the more reddy colour here. It's a lot paler down the bottom. It's darker at the top, and over here you can see, but I will show you closer up when we get there. Actually, bring that back because I haven't done the other side yet. Pop that one back on. And then here, I think we're going to use the Peanut Glow. Now the Peanut Glow, I am going to mix with, believe it or not, I'm going to mix it with this, which is your Lagoon Punch. But I will show you in just a second how we do that. So again, I'm moving across a little bit, and I'm going to change my brush. So Peanut Glow. Look at that. I mean, you wouldn't expect that, would you? So over here, we're going to be really delicate with this. We're not going to be heavy with this. I've wiped off a ton of ink, and I'm going to come over with the Peanut Glow. And then actually, this is a good time when you use your lid, because it keeps the ink wet. So take the ink off and then come over here and down the bottom here. Let me get some colour in this piece. Take what I've got in the lid. So honestly, you just really can mix these together. Pop that over here. The less colour, the less ink you put on, the kind of less shimmer you get. So if you're using maybe our blending inks, you could absolutely use this over the top just to give it a little bit of shine. So let's give you a view of this first. So it looks quite pretty down there. Then we're going to knock the socks off it in a minute. However, I'm still going to use that Peanut Glow around some of this area here. So this is where the blendability starts to take shape. So we've got the peachy colour, we've got the darker reddy colour, and I'm going to come around here. I'm going to give it almost like a hue where you can blend in. I think you can see that already. And I'm going to do it here as well. So you can build and build your colours. Now, of course, as we keep saying, this isn't normally the colour palette you would possibly choose. I don't know, maybe you would. But this just is going to show you how clever this is. Now, this one, where it's mixed the pink with the peanut, I've bizarrely got a purple glow appearing from that somewhere. I don't know how I've done it, but obviously it's a lot to do with the colour shift change. So now we'll move the peanut glow out of the way, and as I said, we'll bring in that Lagoon Punch again, just so you can see the blendability that's occurring. Now, where's that brush I used? It was the greeny brush, wasn't it? So we'll bring the greeny brush back, and I'm going to, again, massive tap off. But then we're going to go around the edge of this peanut glow. And it takes on this grey. I'm going to see if I can bring you in a bit. There we are. I'm going to come right in. And I think you might see now I've got this kind of grey. I should have gone on from there really. This grey green shaded area. Can you see that? And then I'll come up here. I'm hoping this is showing you kind of the differences between these and the interference. Now, again, if I wanted to tap off, oh, I've still got some there. I could build up here and get this darker and darker because they're blendable. Take that again and give you that edge. So it now becomes like a purpley colour over here. It's just divine. When we hold this one up, hopefully you'll see. Now this video, obviously I appreciate it is a long video, but I think it's really important that you see these things, okay? So we're starting to see some definition appearing all over this, which you probably wouldn't get quite so much with the interference. 2 stencils to go. Now this is just, I'm going to just leave this brush for now, and there's only a tiny amounts on here that I need to deal with, so I will just use this for now and bring the kind of the colours together almost. And we've got a piece over here, and as I said, we would have had a much kind of more detailed background if we'd put the first layer on, but I just really think it was important that you saw the colours in their true light. So stencil number 1 would have absolutely confused everything, but a little bit there as well. You could, everything is overlaying and mixing and matching. I'm hoping you're seeing that. So this one now, I think we're going to kind of almost like reverse stuff. So we've got the purples here already, so we'll put purples there. We've got the blues here, so we'll put the blues over here. So again, I've got this Lagoon Punch, and I'm just literally like using a light amount of ink, just light. And I think I might need that lid again because there's not a lot of space on this one. And just over here. This really, really does. I mean, some of you who have outblending inks definitely gives you almost like an interference-y, shimmery, anthracite colour. That's what it reminds me of. I know I shouldn't say it, but I think these are my new favourite ink pads at the moment. So I'm going to leave that kind of like so. Let's make sure that's nice and blended because they're a blending ink. Just ridiculously cool. Okay. And then let's bring in that Fruit Punch. So Fruit Punch is more of a pink. Okay, it doesn't seem it where it sits there, but it is. So I bring in the brush. I'm going to wipe off so you don't get a confused look. And I'm going to show you that. So that's a much more pinky look. So you've got your corally and your peachy. This is a pink. So we're going to come over here and we're going to use that pink when we lay that down. Because now the Lagoon Punch, when it mixes with the Fruit Punch, is going to turn kind of a purpley colour. Now we're going to come over this side and let's have a look. Oh no, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come in over here and we're going to mix some of this up a little bit. So this is going to go that purple colour. So there's no stresses, but as you can see, there isn't a vibrant yellow. I needed to kind of have some more colours to work with the yellow, and it would have made it almost like an unruly set. So for now, the next palette will definitely have some yellows in it. So I'm going to lift that up and show you now. Can you see how they're all blending together? It's crazy. It's crazy. They're gorgeous, but it's crazy. And I think this side, let's bring in a little bit of this colour, this fruit punch. And we'll come down here and you'll see, look, I've got some blue on the brush still. So it's changed that colour up. I'll pop the ink down here and maybe over here a little bit to this side. Now I'm not going to do any more to that side. I think I might bring some of the purple in now. So I think we're going to come in with the lighter purple, which was the golden heather. And then I'll finish this one off and I will show you. I'll cut it out and let you have a look. Now, I was going to do this on black, but if I do this on black, you can't really see anything while it's flat. And as you know, like with the colour changing and the interference, you kind of have to lift it up and wiggle it to get that look. So that pink is blended seamlessly into that purple, like so. And I think I'm going to leave it there. Let's have a look. I mean, we can always go back if we need to, but I don't think we're going to need to. Okay, right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this out and I will be back to you very shortly. I'm just going to trim that out and I'm just going to hold it up and kind of wiggle it for you so you get to see the beauty. So we have these really messy pieces here. You can see that, but once this gets filled up, we'll be using that as a background. But I've literally trimmed that out now. Now, you might say, well, how many colours have you got there? Well, yes, there's a lot, but I think for demonstration purposes, it's great to see. I'm going to lay this on a piece of black card as well. So look at that. Straight away, you can see you've got some beautiful, vibrant colours. But when I do this, I can see it in the peanut gold. I can see it all around here. And down here. The lights are terrible. Well, they're not terrible. They're really good. They're meant to keep everything nice and vibrant. However, it kind of, it doesn't always pick up the shimmer very well. But here, here, and here, I think is where I'm picking it up the most. There you go. There you are. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what they do. So let me just take one of those stencils. Now I'm going to take that last one. It's got loads of different colours on it. I'm not even going to use my ulti-mate. And I'm going to pick out a couple of these colours. So as we said down here, we used the Lagoon Punch. We used the purple here, which was the Golden Heather. So let me show you the Lagoon Punch, and we'll start that one just down here. Okay, and we'll just put this in a few areas. So this is that greeny colour. You can see, pop that there. Hopefully that doesn't move because I haven't got the ulti-mate out. Let's come in with that purple, and we'll put some of the purple. Let's just pop the purple down here for now. Oh, move that a bit. It doesn't matter. This is just for you to see the kind of shimmer that comes through on the black card. My issue is I have to do this in the middle of the day, and then what happens? It's too bright. It's too bright for the cameras to see. But I think you get the idea, that's for sure. Then hold that one down. Let's pop this one here. And actually, that really comes across on here. You can see that it's got that chalky finish. Okay, I'm going to lift this off. And now it looks really odd, but you'll get the idea. So here now, as this is drying, can you see you've got the blue at the top, the pink at the bottom, and the gold at the side. It's Let me pick out the colours. It was Fruit Punch, Coral Waters and Lagoon Punch. So this is kind of the bottom one. Hope you can see that. And then this is your Coral Waters at the top. You can see that's starting to dry. With all of these things, you have to wait till they dry. And there's your Fruit Punch, okay? Now I've got a little swatch as well of a couple of the colours as well. So when they dry on black, you can see that is your Peanut Glow, that is your Fruit Punch, and that one is your Lilac Meadow. So you can see actually when they dry beautifully, but obviously we're just going through a tiny area on a stencil. But it gives you the idea of kind of the difference that they look like. So where was that Fruit Punch that we just used? So you can see when it goes to the stencil, but how it looks when it dries. But if I go directly to the card, you can see it faster, but you could still see that pink. Now I can't see any pink. You can see pink because that is the opaque of the matte blending ink. When I lift it, can you see it's drying already? But because this is a stencil and it's kind of blended, you get less of the intense colour. So again, it's up to you how you use your colours. So that's firstly how you can use them. The other way you can use them is what I love. So I'm just literally going to turn this piece of card over. And I've got a piece of plastic, okay? So I'm just going to cut this down. This is actually from the all-round cardstock. I don't need too much. Let's grab this piece here. You're gonna thinking, what is she doing now? So this is just a piece of the plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of the inks and I'm going to smoosh them onto here. So this is let's start with the lighter colour that I want to do. Summer Sky, which is the greeny colour. And then I'm going to come down, I'm going to do this one first. And I'm going to grab my water bottle. I'm going to mist, not too much. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to move this around a bit. And I'm going to use this to do some smooshing, which you can easily do. Okay, so that's that. Now, I don't know that you can pick it up yet, but I can already see the dark shimmer coming through. So I will give that a tiny wipe. Now, I always do this simply because if I'm going to put water onto some cardstock and then I use ink over the top, what's going to happen is you're going to dilute your ink pad, and we do not want to be doing that. So now I've got the pink, and you can see here it's a lot more vibrant when you do it in different ways. I'm going to move that around. I'm going to bring this back, and then we'll do this, and we'll smoosh this like so. So again, all these techniques that you would normally do with your inks, goodness me, absolutely, yes, you can still do them. So I grab that and I fill some of these gaps. Now already, I'm gonna lift this up and show you in a second. I can see some of the beautiful, beautiful shimmer coming through. I'm hoping you can. Yeah, you can see the gold coming through straight away. I'm not sure you'll pick up the blue, but I can pick up the blue coming here. You can see the blue coming through the green. So you can see they lend themselves to lots of different things. Let's bring in the blue. Let's bring in a light blue. So, I mean, as light as we've got. So this is your Under the Sea, just a little bit. Don't need too much of the blue. Let's kind of move that around a little bit. Mist that around. And again, I'm just going to shift that colour around so it's not too heavy, although this is quite a pretty colour. Oops, let's smoosh that out a little bit. Pop a little bit down here. And you'll see when it hits the other colours, it changes. So now the greens, the blues and yellows become greens, the pinks become purples. I mean, phenomenal in a minute when I hold this. Obviously that's a bit harsh down here. I would go back in to that area if I had more time to do that, however. So we haven't got a purple ink pad here, but you can see it's all gone purple down here because the colours have mixed. I might need to leave it to dry. Let me dry it off and let's see what happens. I think now, particularly in the pink, it's picking up the pink and it's picking up the green and the blue. So you've got the green and the blue around here, you've got the pink around here. And hopefully you can now see, as that's drying, the beautiful shimmer that's coming off. And in here, this green, I didn't even use a green. So what's happened is the blue and the yellow have kind of attached to each other and created the green. So just by drying that off a little bit, it's given me a lot more shimmer. So you can use these again on your white card and you can use these on your black card. And all again, I would do with this one, I would cut this down. It's become a beautiful background. And I could certainly add that to my card like so. You could put some flowers on there, you know, like the silhouette flowers. You could actually die cut this if you wanted to die cut this as well. But I think you could start to see the effects you can get by using these. But the main thing to take from this is that's matte. That is now a matte finish. That is not a shimmery finish. That it's got the matte finish, but it's still got the shine coming through. So yeah, that's another way of using them. You can absolutely do your painting with them as well. You can stamp with them. However, let me just show you stamping before we go. So you've got at least some idea of how it works. Now, in my opinion, I prefer these for blending. I'm just going to bring in an old stamp. Let's go. Lovely Lots. That's just something I've got to hand. And I'm going to pop that down on an old stamping press I've got. Just again in the room. And I'm going to place the ink on here. And we're going to stamp with this. So yes, you can stamp with this. Let me just pop that like so. Just randomly here. It gives you a lovely stamp. You do not really get any shimmer from it though. That's the thing with our interference as well. If you look at the back, it kind of grabs that shimmer. Can you see that? It grabs the shimmer and holds it on that not acrylic, on the photopolymer stamp. It's a really bizarre thing. So if I use that same ink pad, and it's actually the one that gives us the gold, yeah. Let me show you again. You kind of, it just isn't. It isn't one of the benefits of these ink pads. These ink pads are your blending ink pads. I can see it's got the gold coming through. I can see it, but for me, nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. So I wouldn't choose these for my stamping. Can you see that? I don't know why it happens. It's a property of the ink, but the gold is still on there. It's still there. It's definitely there, but it just doesn't detach itself onto the cardstock. So there you go. So I'm hoping this has given you a little insight into these ink pads, what they do, how they differ, And let's bring in that sample. So this is your white cardstock, and I'm hoping, those lights are devils, aren't they? They really are. Doesn't like to show it very well. However, there is plenty of shimmer on there. I think it is coming across through the middle a little bit more now. So that is on white cardstock. This is using it on white cardstock with water. So you get your shimmer coming through most definitely. Most definitely. And if you add a yellow and a blue ink, it goes green. If you add a pink and a blue ink, it goes purple. And again, your color shift kind of changes as well, that shift in color. So that's another way of using them. You can then obviously use them through a stencil, keeping them really simple. And as I did 3 or 4 different designs for you. So this is with the coral waters and the watermelon spritz, and you get those beautiful different tones come through. And then we had the peanut glow and the, what was the other one called? It was called Lagoon Punch. Let me give you those. No, this was avocado gold and Lagoon Punch. Avocado gold and Lagoon Punch. There you go, which is those two. And again, you can see that sheen coming through with the purple, but it doesn't make it easy to sit on the cameras. And then this was your peanut glow and your summer sky. That seems to show up more. I don't know why. Maybe I pressed a little harder with the ink. Who knows? But either way, I think you can see there's some great benefits. Now, this is lovely to see this here because this is showing you the matte finish. And when I shift it, you get the shine. So that is our brand new colour shift inks. I will give you all the colours that we have available. We have Coral Waters. We have Fruit Punch. We have Peanut Glow. We have Lilac Meadow. We have Watermelon Spritz. We have Avocado Gold. We have Under the Sea. Summer Sky. Lagoon Punch. Let's move these up a little bit. Lagoon Punch. And Golden Heather. So I hope that was useful. I hope you found that kind of educational or a little bit of an insight into how these inks work. Please leave a comment under the video if you've got any questions, if there's any help you need on these. Happy to answer questions. I would say stick with brushes designed for colour shift and interference. I would separate them away from your blending brushes. But other than that, I would just say go play and have some fun.